Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stone Dogs 40k. You're looking at 1500 points of Necrons. We've got a battalion over this side and a patrol detachment over on the right. Let's have a look at the battalion first. So the Warlord is Imhotep the Stormlord. That's this guy on the left. His Warlord trait is Hyperlogical Strategist. That means that once per battle he can re-roll a single hit roll, wound roll or damage roll for himself. In addition, each time you spend a command point to use a stratagem, you can roll a d6, and on a 5 that command point is immediately refunded. There's also a Cryptek just on the right there. He has a Canoptic Cloak, he's a Technomancer, and he has the Veil of Darkness as well. And then we've got 3 squads of Necron warriors, all carrying the Gauss Flayer, and then 3 destroyers over the back there, all armed with Gauss Cannon, and finally a Night Scythe, which is armed with Tesla Destructor. So that's an assault 4 weapon for strength 7. And each roll, hit roll of a 6+ causes 3 hits instead of 1. That's handy. Nice. So that's the battalion, and then the patrol detachment. So leading this we have got the Overlord just down at the front here. He has obviously My Will Be Done and Phase Shifter. He's got a 4+ save, in other words. And then we've also got the Immortals, these guys just here, armed with Gauss Blasters. Squad of Death Marks just over the back there, armed with Synaptic Disintegrators. Canoptic Scarabs at the front. And then 3 Canoptic Wraiths over the back there. They're just armed with Vicious Claws. And then finally the Annihilation Barge just here, which has the Gauss Cannon and the twin Tesla Destructor. Now I'm also running a Transcendent Cetan, or Catan if you want to call it that. Now I haven't got the model for that at the moment, so what I'm using is this bad boy. This is a proxy Catan. There you go. Looks a bit like Jesus. Anyway, he has got Transdimensional Thunderbolt. So pick a visible enemy unit within 24 inches of the Catan and roll a d6. Add 1 to the result if the Catan is using. Okay, that is not a Tesseract Vault, so that doesn't count. But on a 4+, the chosen unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. You then roll a d6 for every other enemy unit that is within 3 inches of the chosen unit, and on a 4+, that unit suffers a mortal wound. So he's got quite a big punch, basically. He's got a 4+ invuln save. Yeah, is armed with Crackling Tendrils hidden under his cloak. So there you go, that's 1500 points of Necrons. So I should just say that these Necrons had 5 command points because of the battalion, plus the Battleforged 3 to make 8. They also gain a command point because this guy is the Warlord, so they get 1 command point for that as well. So that's 9 command points to start. This is 1,499 points of Space Marines, split into a battalion over here and a Outrider detachment over here. Let's have a look at the battalion first. So this army is led by the captain in Cataphracti armor just here, and I've paid 2 command points to make him Chapter Master. He's armed with a chain fist and a... what is that gun? That is a combi bolter. Because he's a chapter master, he can re-roll hit rolls for attacks made by models within 6 inches. He has the armor Indomitus, so he has a save of 2+, and then once per battle, before making one of the saving throws, you can choose to activate the armor's force field, and then that armor confers a 3+ in Vuln for the remainder of the turn. So that's quite handy. We've then got the Librarian in Terminator armor, Force Stave and Stormbolter. There's 3 squads of Intercessors. There is also a squad of Inceptors. They're all armed with Assault Bolters. And then there's a squad of Hellblasters over the back there, just with standard Plasma Incinerators. So that's the battalion. The Outrider detachment, just over here. This is made up of the standard Space Marine captain, just at the front. He's got a mastercrafted bolt gun and a power fist. And then we've got 9 assault marines, all armed with chain swords, apart from the sergeant, who's got a thunder hammer and a combat shield. Then got 3 standard bikes and an attack bike. These guys have all got chain swords, and this guy has, I believe, a multi-melter. Let me just double check that. Good old battle scribe. Got a multi-melter and twin bolt gun on that one. And then over the back we've got the speeder, which is armed with a heavy flamer, and then we've got a predator, which is armed with a heavy bolter, storm bolter, and twin las cannons. So heavy bolters in the sponsons, storm bolter on the top there, and then twin las cannon on the front. And then finally the Redemptor, which has got the standard loadout. So the Redemptor fist, heavy onslaught Gatling cannon, Icarus rocket pod, frag storm grenade launchers as per standard. I think there's a heavy flamer as well. So there you go, that is the Outrider. The reason that it's 1,499 points is because I made a slight error in this squad, and I had a flamer in there originally, but I hadn't accounted for the points for the hammer and the shield. So once I'd worked that out, that made this guy worth, I believe, 17 points. The flamer was 18 points. That took me 17 points over, so I figured swap them out, take that guy out. And that dropped me down to 1,499. So there you go. That's the Space Marine Army. So here we are all deployed. We are playing Lockdown, which is an Eternal War mission from Chapter Approved 2019. Deployment is Search and Destroy. The Space Marines won the roll-off and chose the map, and they chose to be the attacker. They deployed their entire army, and then the Necrons deployed theirs. So everything's on the table for the Necrons. So there's a squad of warriors here, Annihilation Barge, Death Marks with the Overlord, Night Scythe just at the back here behind the barn. And then we've got the more Necron warriors here, Canoptic Wraiths just in behind the building here. We've got the Catan and Imatech just up the top there, Destroyers, Immortals, Scarabs, the Cryptek, and then the last squad of 10 Necron warriors just here. And then for the Space Marines, we've got the Speeder at the top end here, Predator just tucked between the buildings, Redemptor here, one squad of 5 in Intercessors with the Captain and the Librarian, Hellblasters up in the building, and then the Warlord, who is just here with Intercessors, attack bike and 3 standard bikes. And then in reserve we've got the Assault Marines and the Inceptors. So that's it for deployment. Let's see who gets to go first. So actually in this game it's the attackers that go first, so the Space Marines are going to go first, but the Necrons are going to try and seize. Woo! And they do. Wowza. Okay, so it's Necrons. Turn 1. So this is the end of movement phase for the Necrons for turn number 1, and the Annihilation Barge has moved across to the far side here. There's an objective just there, so looking to sweep around the left flank of the Space Marines. This group of warriors have just moved forwards. Death Marks and the Overlord have stayed put just here to keep an eye on this objective. Standard move here. Imhotep has stayed put, however the Satan has moved around the corner just to there. I've got advances of 2 inches here. This guy's got a 10-inch move, but he's just kept pace because there's an ability I want to use on these a bit later on, which I'll explain shortly. 6-inch advance here, 3-inch advance here, 4-inch advance there, and 4-inch advance there. So that's the end of the movement phase. So we're going into Psychic next, coming up shortly. So we're using Seismic Assault, which is basically going from here to the closest visible unit, which is going to be the Hellblasters up here. So I need to roll 5d6, and on a 6, that's 1 mortal wound. Okay. So there we go, 2 mortal wounds. That's enough to kill 1 Hellblaster. So having checked, it's not the closest enemy unit, it's a visible enemy unit within 24 inches. So I could have gone for that squad just there, but obviously we've taken out one of the Hellblasters now, so that's just as good. So that's it for the Psychic phase, and it's now the shooting phase. So we're going to start off with the Gauss cannon on the destroyers, and these are going into the Hellblasters just up on the building there. So these are going to need to, they're normally a 3+, because of cover they'll need a 4+. This is heavy 3, however the dynasty dynastic code for these guys is Relentless Advance. So it treats all ranged weapons it is equipped with as assault weapons until the end of this turn. So basically that means these are assault 3 weapons. So 4s. There we go, that's 6 hits. Actually re-roll hit rolls of 1 for that as well, so there was 1 in there, so there we go, that's an extra hit. Strength is 5, so toughness 4, so 3s to wound. 5 wounds, and there is -3 AP on these guys, so 6 up saves. Okay, so 2 are saved. 3 go through, and these are D3 damage apiece. 1, 1 and 2. Okay, so that's basically enough to kill 2 more Hellblasters. So we'll just pop 2 of those off of there. There we go. Okay, let's see what we've got next. So we're going to do the Gauss blasters next into the intercessors just there. So this is rapid fire 1, 5 shots hitting on 3s. Okay, so we've got 3 hits. Strength on these is 4, so it's 4s to wound. Get 1 wound, and there is -2 AP, so it's a 5-up save, which is not saved. So that is 1 wound off of those guys. Okay, we're now going to go for the Night Scythe and its Tesla Destructors. Now these are going to shoot into those Hellblasters because we want to get those off the board. So this is a Assault 4 weapon, hits on 3s, however they're in cover, so it's 4s to hit. Oh dear, okay, so we get 1 hit. Okay. Strength is 7, so 3 to wound. It does wound, and it is 0 AP, so it's a 3-up save, but it's not saved, so that is 1 more wound off of the Hellblasters. And the final bit of shooting, there are 7 of these Necron warriors that are in range of the Hellblasters, so that's 7 shots hitting on 4s because they're in cover. 3 hits, and these are strength 4, so 4s to wound. Is that right? Yeah, 4s to wound. 2 wounds. -1 AP, both saved. That's the end of shooting. Looking at charges next. So there's 2 charges to declare. First one is the Wraiths, which are going to charge into the intercessors just up this roadway, and then the Scarabs, which are going to charge into the Captain, who is just there. So let's do the Wraiths first. So the Overwatch will be 10 shots. Hitting on 6s obviously. And re-rolling because the Chapter Master's right there. Okay. So that's 2 hits. 5s to wound, strength 4, toughness 5. That's 1 wound. And these guys get a 4-up, which is saved. See if they make that charge. Whoops. 9 inches is easily enough, so that charge is successful. And then the Captain, rapid fire 1, so 2 shots hitting on 6s, re-rolling, no hits, charging, and that should be enough. Yeah, that is enough to get the Scarabs into melee. There we go. Okay, fight phase is next. So these get 3 attacks each, hitting on 3s. Okay, and then the claws are strength 6. So 3s to wound. 3 wounds, and then -2 AP, so 5-up saves. Oh wow, look at that. Excellent, all saved. Okay. And then the intercessors will fight back, hitting on 3s. Re-rolling because the Chapter Master's there. strength is 4, toughness is 5, so 5's to wound. That's 1 wound, which is saved. Okay, that's an invuln save of 3+. Okay, standard save of 4+. Next we're doing the scarabs just there. So these guys get 4 attacks each, hitting on 4s. And they are strength 3, so 5's to wound. That's 1 wound, and there's no AP, so standard save, which is saved. And then the captain will fight back, and he has 5 attacks, hitting on 2s with his power fist. They all hit. Strength 8 versus toughness 3, so 2's to wound. They all wound. Power fist is -3 AP. So unfortunately, these guys can't save against it. So D3 damage each. 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. That's 13. That's enough to kill all 3 of those, because they only have 3 wounds each. So 9 wounds there, 13 wounds there. So that is that unit wiped out. That is first strike also to the Space Marines. That's the end of the fight phase. Morale, literally just that unit of Hellblasters. Lost 3, leadership 9, so they're good. That's the end of Necrons turn number 1. Space Marines turn 1 is just a quick Necrons turn summary, because we need to obviously score for the mission objectives. Basically we've got what's that? That's Line Breaker, and we also got 1 point for this objective. This one we're too far away from, this one we're too far away from, so 2 points for the Necrons at the end of their turn. So movement is complete for Space Marines for turn number 1. Just a quick run through of what's been going on. So the bike squad and the attack bike have advanced from back here. An extra 5 inches for these guys and 4 inches for this unit. These intercessors and the chapter master have just moved out from inside the building to get into easy charge range of the wraiths. Stay put. These guys have just moved, standard move of 6 inches. The Redemptor has just shuffled across to get onto this objective, and the speeder, which was around here, has just advanced round to this point here, so is on objective number 3. In addition, the assault marines have dropped down into the back line of the Space Marines, 9 inches away from the night scythe, so hopefully we'll get a charge off there. And then over this side, the Inceptors have dropped in just behind the barn, 9 inches away from this unit. Oh, actually, I need to remeasure that because I forgot there is an Overlord just down there. So let me just remeasure that and reassess where they can land. No, they are actually okay where they are. So that's it for movement. Psychic is next. So I used the White Scars supplement to set up the Space Marine army for this time round. So one of the psychic powers is Lightning Call, is a warp charge of 7. So let's see if it goes off first of all. This is going on to the destroyers just here. and it goes off on an 11, which is a super duper lightning call, but doesn't make any difference to the actual result. So that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds for 3. So if that unit is not destroyed, let me just find the profile for those units. Okay, so 3 wounds caused. Those are mortal wounds, so that actually destroys one of these guys. So let's take that guy away. The rest of this ability is, if the unit is not destroyed, roll 1d6. On a 4+, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So it suffers another mortal wound. So we'll take that one down to 2. Then, if that unit is still not destroyed, roll 1d6. On a 5+, that suffers another mortal wound. So there's another mortal wound. So that takes him down to 1. And then, if that unit is still not destroyed, roll a d6, and then on a 6, that's another mortal wound. Okay, so that takes out that one. And that is the end of Lightning Call. So you can imagine power surging down into the unit and slowly but surely whittling them down and taking wounds off. So that is that power. Now the librarian actually gets 2 psychic powers, so he's going to cast a smite onto the closest visible enemy unit, which again is that destroyer, and it goes off. D3 mortal wounds for 2, so that takes him down to 1 wound remaining. That's the end of the psychic phase. Shooting is next. First things first, 9 bolt pistols into the Night Scythe, normally hitting on a 3, but as it's flying it's actually hitting on a 4. 4 hits, strength 4, toughness 6, so 5s to wound. 1 wound, and that is saved. So we're going to do all of the weapons from the Redemptor into the Night Scythe as well. So let's do the Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon first. 12 shots, hitting on 4s again because it's flying. Fives to wound. These are -1 AP. I think that's 2 wounds. So unbeknownst to me, when I set up the Battle Scribe profile for this Redemptor, I actually managed to pay points for a Stormbolter, which is a bit odd. So I've got Icarus rocket pods, Stormbolter, but no grenade launchers, which is very funny. So anyway, going to do the Flamer first. D6 auto hits. That was cocked. We're going to get it again. 6 auto hits. Strength 5, so 5s to wound. No wounds. Okay. Icarus rocket pod, heavy D3, so 1 hitting on a 4 because it's moving, that hits. Strength 7, so 3 to wound. -1 AP, so for a 4 that's saved. And then finally Stormbolter, rapid fire 2, so 4 shots hitting on 4s. That's 1 hit. 5 to wound, doesn't wound. Okay, that's the end of the shooting phase for this guy. We're going to do the Predator next, and again, what are we going to do? I think what we're going to do is we're going to do all the shots into those guys there. That probably makes the most sense, because this is obviously going to be hitting on -1 to hit. So we're going to put all the shots from the Predator into that squad right there. Okay, so first things first, 2 heavy bolters in the sponsons, 36-inch range, heavy 3, hasn't moved, so hitting on 3s. That's 4 hits. These are strength 5 versus toughness 4, 3s to wound, 2 wounds, -1 AP. Ooh, so both of those are saved. We've then got Storm Bolter, 2 shots, hitting on 3s, both hit, 4s to wound, no wounds. And then finally, Twin Las Cannon. Heavy 2 hasn't moved, so hitting on 3s, 1 hits, 2 to wound, that wounds, -3 AP, not saved, D6 damage. Does 3 damage, but that's only 1 shot, so these guys are single wound, so it just takes out 1 guy. There we go. So next we're going to fire the 2 Hellblasters down into the destroyer just there. So this is 2 shots hitting on 3s, and they both hit, strength 8, they both wound, they're -4 AP. I don't think destroyers have a invuln. I'll just double check. Yeah, no invuln on the destroyers, so that unit is also destroyed. And then we are looking at, I think, probably the... Yeah, we'll do the intercessors over the back there next, and these guys are all going to shoot at the night side. So now they moved, so 5 shots hitting on 4s, re-rolling for the chapter master, so that's 2 hits. 5s to wound, no wounds. We'll also do the chapter master, 2 shots. That hits, does not wound. Okay, and then we're going to move on to these guys here. So again, into the night side, 5 shots hitting on 4s. They all hit, wounding on 5s. You get 1 wound, which is saved. The captain, who is going to shoot at these guys, 2 shots, both hit, both wound, 1 goes through, so he didn't manage to take out another one of the immortals. And then we're going to move down to the bikes just down here. So we've got 3 twin bolt guns on the 3 bikes there, going into the Annihilation Barge, so hitting on 4s because it's a flyer. And we get 2 hits. And these are strength 4 versus toughness 6, so 5s to wound, no wounds. And then on the attack bike, what have we got? We've got a multi-melter and a twin bolt gun on there as well, so again, 4s to hit, 1 hit, 5s to wound. Whoops, not going to chase that across the floor, does not wound. And then a multi-melter, which is heavy 1, so hitting on a 5 because it moved and it's a flyer, and it does not hit. Okay. So final bit of shooting is the Inceptors, who are going to shoot at the Necron warriors just over there. So these are Assault 3 weapons, hitting on 3, so 9 shots, 7 hits, strength is 5, so 3s to wound, not so great, 3 wounds, whoops. -1 AP, so that gives the Necron warriors a 5-up save, and they don't fail any, so that's 3 dead Necron warriors. So units that haven't shot, this guy here armed with 2 flamers, out of range though, can't shoot. I think everything else has had a turn. So we're now moving into the charge phase. Charge phase for turn 1, declaring a charge from the Assault Marines into the Night Scythe. So the Night Scythe will fire Overwatch with its Tesla Destructor. 4 shots, hitting on 6s obviously. Okay, so we get 1 hit. So that actually causes 3 hits instead of 1. So strength is 7, 3s to wound. 1 wound. And there's no AP on it, so it's just a 3-up save. But it is not saved, so that takes out 1 of the Assault Marines. We'll just take that guy from the back. So the charge needs to be 8 inches or more. Wow, even if I re-roll it, they won't make it in. Can only re-roll 1. So okay, failed charge. That is the end of the charge phase, so we're now going into the fight phase. So over to this combat. So the intercessors are going to fight, hitting on 3s. They get to re-roll because of the chapter master. Not particularly great, but there we go. 7 hits. So these are strength 4 versus toughness 5, so 5s to wound. So we get 2 wounds, and these guys get a 4-up save. Okay, so 1 goes through. That's 1 wound off of 1 of those wraiths. Wraiths get to fight back. And again, hit on 3s. 3s to wound. And minus 2 AP, so 5s to save. Alright, that is 1 killed, so we'll take that guy out from the back. That is the end of the fight phase. So, in terms of morale, we need to do morale for these guys here. I'm sure they'll be fine. They've lost 1. They're good. And for the Immortals, just over there, they lost 2. So leadership is, yeah, leadership 10, lost 2, so they are more than good. And then we finally got that squad over there, they lost 3. And they roll a 5. And again, leadership is 10, so they are all good. So that is the end of the turn 1 for Space Marines. In terms of what they've achieved, they've got a point for that one and a point for that one, so that's 2 points. And they've also taken out the squad of destroyers, so oh, and also the squad of scarabs as well, so they get a point for first strike also, so that's 3 points for the Space Marines. My mistake, I forgot this one, so it's actually 4 points for the Space Marines, and they actually get an extra point because they control 3 objectives, whereas the Necrons only control 1. So that's the end of Battle Round 1. Battle Round 2 is coming up shortly. So turn number 2 movement for the Necrons is complete. Reanimation protocols brought back 2 of the warriors into this unit, and also brought back 1 of the Immortals, so bolstered them a little bit, and also the Cryptek, as he was in within 3 inches of this unit, has used his ability, which is called, I think, transdimensional something or other. Where are we? Sorry, no, it's not. It's called the Veil of Darkness. So you can basically be removed from the field and then set up, as long as this unit is within 6 inches of him, and he is more than 9 inches away from any enemy. So they've actually just flipped from back here over to here, and then for the rest of the movement the Night Scythe has just scooted across to this point. These guys were here, they've just backed up to get onto this objective. Imatech has just dropped down off the building and this unit has just moved around the corner. This unit has just hopped over the fence. The Annihilation barge that was over there has just scooted across to here to support the Death Marks and the Overlord, who are now targeting the Inceptors. So that's the end of movement. Just need to do the powers of the Catan, which is just coming up. So the Catan, who is still just there, is going to cast Transdimensional Thunderbolt onto the Hellblasters. So you need to roll a d6, and he gets a 6. That unit suffers d3 mortal wounds for 2. So that takes out that guy and drops the Sergeant down to 2 wounds remaining. And he then rolls another d6, which is not enough. So he needed a 4+. Okay, that's it. That's that power done. He's also got Seismic Assault. Seismic Assault is a d6 for each model in that unit, and he gets a 1, so that doesn't actually take effect because he needed to roll a 6+ to inflict a mortal wound. So that's the end of his powers phase. Shooting is next. So shooting phase, we're going to start here. The Overlord is going to use his Staff of Light, which is a 12-inch Assault 3 weapon, into the Inceptors. Now this is going to be hitting on 3s rather than 4s, sorry, 3s rather than 2s. So he gets 2 hits, Strength 5, Toughness 5, so 4s to wound, 1 wound, and it's -2 AP. So that's not saved, so that inflicts 1 wound on the Inceptors. Okay, so Death Marks next. Rapid fire, 24-inch range, so 10 shots, and these are hitting on 4s again. Okay. Fives to wound. Okay, so it's literally 1 mortal wound. It's down to 1. And we've got Relentless Advance, so that makes the Gauss Cannon on the Annihilation Barge Assault 3 rather than Heavy 3. So hitting on 4s. That's 1 hit. Strength is 6, so 3s to wound. Does not wound. And then we've got the Tesla Destructor, so 8 shots, hitting on 4s again. And each 6 causes 3 hits instead of 1, so that's 3, 6, 9, 10. 4, 8, 10. And it's a strength 7, so 3s to wound. No AP. Okay, so there's another 3 wounds go through, so that's enough to take out that guy. And it leaves that guy on 1 wound. 3 wounds apiece, aren't they? There we go. That's the end of the shooting phase for this little plob of buoys and bits and bobs here. So we're going to go on to these guys next. So we'll do this unit first and then we can do this unit. So 10 shots into the bikes, hitting on 3s. And they all hit. Fours to wound. That's not so good. And -1 AP, so forced to save. Okay, so the bike squad takes 2 wounds. So that's enough to take out one of the bikers. The sergeant's got the yellow stripe on his helmet, so I'll take that guy there. And then here, that means that they now cannot see that unit. So, a bit of crafty play there for the Space Marines. Okay, so next shooting is going to be the Immortals, and they're going to shoot into the speeder. Actually, a change of plan. They're going to shoot into the last remaining Hellblaster just up on top of the building there. So we've got 4 shots hitting on 3s. Oh dear, that might have been a mistake. Actually, they're hitting on 4s because he's in cover. So actually, none of those hit. That might have been a waste of those shots. Never mind. We're going to do this squad and the Cryptek. These are definitely going into the speeder. So we'll do the Necron Warriors first. So 10 shots hitting on 3s. And strength 4, toughness 5, so 5s to wound. 2 wounds. These are -1 AP. Okay, so that is a single wound off of the speeder, which drops him down to 5 wounds. And we've then got the Cryptek. Cryptek using his Staff of Light, 5 shots. Sorry, my mistake. It's an Assault 3 weapon, and that is 2 hits. Strength is 5, so forced to wound. 2 wounds, -2 AP. Both go through, so that's another 2 wounds. Puts him down to 3. Nightside next. So Tesla Destructor, Assault 4. These 4 shots are going to go into the Predator. So these hit on a 3. Okay, so that's 3, 6, 7, 8. So I need another 4 dice. There we go. So that's 8 hits. Strength is 7, so it's forced to wound. That's not quite so good. 2 wounds. There's no AP on this, so a 3-up save. And they are both saved. Okay, just a quick double check across the board, but I think everything is now shot. So Nightside has shot, these guys have shot, Death Marks have shot, as have this squad. These guys couldn't shoot because they can't see anything, and these have all shot as well. And Himitek's only got a 12-inch range. So that's it for shooting. Charges are next. Okay, so the Cryptek, who has the fly keyword because of his canoptic cloak, is going to charge the speeder. So the speeder has 2 flamers. So he gets 10 auto hits. Strength is 4, toughness is, I want to say 5. Actually, it's the other way around, so it's strength 5, toughness 4, so wounds on a 3. So those all wound. Now the Cryptek has a 4-up save. 3 go through. So that drops him down to 1 wound. Does he make the charge? Alright, so we're going to command point that one. No, he does not make the charge. Do we get the command point back? No, we do not. Well, that was a bit daft and pointless, but there you go, never mind. Right, that's it for charges, I think. So fight phase is next. Okay, so we have got 3 Canoptic Wraiths with 3 attacks each, hitting on 3s. And these are strength of 6, so 3s to wound. 3 wounds. And then -2 AP, 5 up save. None of them are saves, so 2, 4, 6. That's 6 wounds. That leaves the poor old lonely sergeant all by himself. So he's got an attack back, 3 attacks, and they all hit. Strength 4, toughness 5, 5s to wound. That's 1 wound. And it is not saved, so he does manage to do another wound. That drops that guy down to 1. Okay, that is the end of the fight phase. So for morale, pretty sure these Space Marines are going to be okay. Yes, they are. That's it. That's the end of Necrons turn number 2. So the Necrons have got 2 victory points this turn. That takes their total up to 4. Space Marines turn 2 is coming up next. Okay, so movement is complete for the Space Marines for turn 2. Speeder has remained stationary just here. The Predator has just scooted around from behind this building to start targeting down this central roadway. Redemptor's stayed put here. Assault Marines have just moved across just to get into attack distance here. The Librarian, who was over here, has just dropped down and moved across to get within 12-inch range of the Captain for a psychic ability that's going to come up in a moment. These guys have all just moved forwards. The Captain's just moved on to the objective. The bikes, the attack bike has just moved over here to objective number 6, and the 2 bikes that were alongside have just scooted around to get into charge range of the Necron warriors at the back there. The Inceptors, who were here, were potentially going to charge in to the death marks, but actually elected to move them laterally just along the edge, just to target the Immortals. And finally, this squad and the Captain have just moved, standard move forwards just into the lee of this building, again to get into attack and charge range of the Immortals. So that's the end of movement. We're coming into the psychic phase, and we're going to cast Might of Heroes on to the Chapter Master, who's right the way around the other side. So this is a warp charge of 6, which they get on an 8, and then he's also going to cast Lightning Call onto the Canoptic Wraiths, and this goes off on a 7, which it does. So that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds for 3, which is perfect. So that takes out 1 full Wraith. We'll just take that guy there. If that unit is not destroyed, roll 1d6 on a 4+. It suffers another mortal wound. So that's another mortal wound, taking out that one, who's got 1 wound remaining. And then if that unit is still not destroyed on a 5+, wow, we're doing well. That's another mortal wound. And then still not destroyed on a 6. Okay, so that's it. That's the end of lightning call for the librarians. So that's good though, because it's taken those rates down to 2 wounds, which means hopefully once this lot is charged in, they'll be able to finish it off. That's the end of psychic. Shooting is next. Inceptors into the immortals, so 6 shots, hitting on 3s. That's not particularly great, 50%. These are strength 5, so 3s to wound, 2 wounds, and they're -1 AP. So it's a 4-up save. 1 goes through, so that's 1 damage. That takes out one of the guys there. And what shall we do next? Okay, I think what we'll do is we'll do all of the bikes next into these Necron warriors. So we'll do the 2 bikes first. So we've got 2 twin bolt guns, so that's 4 shots each at rapid fire. That makes 16 shots. 10, 16. So 16 shots hitting on 3s. Strength 4, toughness 4, so 4 to wound. That's 5 wounds. And these guys get a 4-up save. Okay, so that's 2 killed. And I guess they've also got bolt pistols, so 2 shots. That's 2 hits, 1 wound, but it's saved. And then we've got the attack bike, which has got a twin bolt gun. So again, 4 shots as it's rapid fire, 2 hits, whoops, 2 wounds, 1 saved, 1 not. And then the multi-melter, which is a heavy 1, so he's moved, hits on a 4. That hits, strength 8, so 2 to wound. It wounds, and it is -4 AP, so can't save it, so that takes another one out. And then bolt pistol as well, miss. Okay. That's the end of that little bit of shooting. We'll now go over to this unit of Space Marines right here. So captain first, rapid fire, 2 shots, hitting on 2s, re-rolling, that's 2 hits. Strength is 4, so 4s to wound, no wounds. And we've got the intercessors, who are rapid fire, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 11, so 22 shots, 4, 8, 11. Do these in 2 batches, I think, so hitting on 3s. No re-rolls. So that's pretty good. 4s to wound. Again, 2 batches. Five wounds, and then the Immortals have a 3-up save. Okay, 3 go through, and they are 1 wound each, so that is enough to take out that unit. I'm going to come across to the Predator next. So everything is going to go into this Necron squad because we want to try and take that off the table if we can. So we're going to do the heavy bolters first. heavy 3, so 4s to hit. Okay, captain's not quite close enough. However, strength is 5, so 3s to wound. That's 3 wounds with -1 AP. So 5 up to save. Okay, so that's 3 down. And we've then got the Storm Bolter, rapid fire 2, so hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s, and 3 up save. Sorry, 4 up save, but it's saved. And then finally Twin Las Cannon, heavy 2, hitting on 4s, no hits. Okay. Well, that was a bit disappointing, but anyway, that's 3 of those Necron warriors taken off the table. Okay, and then we have got the Hellblaster, who is going to shoot at the Night Scythe. So he's outside of half range, but he gets 1 shot, which hits on a 4, and he hits strength 8, toughness 7, so 3 to wound, which wounds. Okay, and it's -4 AP. So with a save of 3, the Night Scythe can't save against that, so that drops him down to 9 wounds. Okay, and now it's the turn of the Assault Marines. So we've got 3, 6, 8. 8 bolt pistol shots, hitting on 4s. 5s to wound. Get 3 wounds. But they are all saved. And now finally it's the turn of the Redemptor. So 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 Gatling cannon shots hitting on 4s. This is going into the Night Scythe again. Wowzer, that is appalling. 5s to wound, 1 wound, 4 up save, saved. Okay, he's got a Storm Bolter as well. Rapid fire, he's within half range. 2 hits, 5s to wound, 1 wound, 3 up save, saved. Whew. Okay, not to worry, it could be worse. That's the end of the shooting phase for the Space Marines. The charge phase is next. So charge phase is going to start here. So we've got 5 Necron warriors. No hits. Charge from the bikes should be easily in. They are indeed. And we've also got a charge up the end here. All the Assault Marines are going to charge into the Night Scythe. He gets 4 shots and no hits, and charge is successful. So these guys, just move that wound tracker. These guys are now in combat. There we go. Only other charge we need to do is this one here. Now this Wraith is in combat with the Sergeant, so, and it's not got any ranged weapons anyway, so the Intercessors are in. Gonna wrap around, I think. And the Chapter Master is in as well, so that should hopefully be the end of that Wraith this turn. Okay, that's the end of the charges. Fight phase is next. Okay, so we're going to start with the Assault Marines, and we're going to do the 7 Standard Marines first. They get an extra attack because of chain swords, so that's 14 attacks in total, hitting on 3s. Strength is 4, so 5s to wound. Whoops, that was a 6. 3 up save. Okay, 2 go through. And then we've got the Sergeant just there with a Thunderhammer, so 2 attacks. Just double check that. Yeah, 2 attacks, however, have to add 1 to the hit roll, so these are hitting on 4s. Okay, so that's 1 hit. And the strength of this weapon is 8, so it's a 3 to wound. Oh, got a command point there. Okay, so that wounds. Minus 3 AP, so it's a 6 up save, which is not saved, and it does 3 damage. So that drops the Night Scythe down to 4 wounds. Night Scythe fighting back. He gets 3 attacks, and he hits on a 6. No hits. Okay. Let's move into the central area and resolve this combat next. So first things first, we'll do the intercessors. These hit on 3s, and they get a re-roll for the captain, for the chapter master, I should say. Okay, that's not bad. Now these are 5s to wound. Two go through. That is enough to take out that horrible, horrible Wraith. So that is combat resolved there. And I think that is it for the combat phase. So in terms of victory points at the end of the Space Marines turn, they've got 1, 2, 3. Now this one here, obviously the land speeder is a flyer, and I did count that, I think, as held. But I think there was a FAQ about flyers not being able to hold objectives, so I'm going to deduct 1 from that. So so that makes 2, which takes the Space Marines up to 6 at the end of their turn. They also get an additional point because they hold 1 more than the Necrons, so that takes them up to 7. That's the end of battle round 2. Okay, so end of the movement phase for the Necrons. The Annihilation Barge, the Night Scythe has scooted across to here. The Annihilation Barge has moved around behind the barn to target the Inceptors. We've got the Warriors and Imatech, who have just moved forwards into the main roadway, and the Cryptek and these Necron Warriors have moved forwards to target the land speeder. Went into the Katan's powers phase, and he used Transdimensional Thunderbolt, which failed to cause any damage up here, and then used Seismic Assault and managed to take off 1 mortal wound. So this Hellblaster is now down to 1 wound remaining. That's it for now. We're into shooting next. So 4 shots into the Assault Marines, hitting on 4 because they're flyers, and 0 hits. Annihilation Barge, Gauss Cannon, 3 shots, hitting on 4s. That's 1 hit. Strength is 6, so 5 to wound, does not wound. And then the twin Tesla destructor, so 8 shots, again hitting on 4s. So 3, 6, 7, 8. Strength is 7, 3s to wound. 5 wounds. 1 goes through. So that takes out that fella. Okay. Next we will do 2 bolt pistols, hitting on 3s. They both hit. And 1 wounds. And is not saved. Of course, that would be excellent if it was the Space Marines' turn, but it's not. So we'll forget that even happened. We have got 2, 4, 6, 8 Necrons there that are going to shoot into the... We're going to go into the Solitary Sergeant, who's right at the front there. So these are rapid fire, so 16 shots. And they hit on 3s, so there's a few misses in there. And this is a strength 4 weapon, so it's a 4 to wound. And a -1 AP, I believe, so it's a 4-up save. Okay, so that is just enough to take that sergeant off the board. And then we've got 10 Necron warriors into the speeder, so that's 20 shots hitting on 4s. It's pretty abysmal. Wow, look at that. Strength 4, toughness 5, so 5s to wound. That's a bit better. 4 wins. -1 AP, so a 4-up save. Okay, so another wound off of the speeder. And then the Cryptek. So he gets assault 3. Hitting on 3s, they all hit. Strength is 5, so 4s to wound. Gets 1 wound. It's -2 AP. So that is saved. Okay. And then I think what we're going to do finally is we'll fire the death marks across into the attack bike. So this is 5 shots hitting on 3s. That's cocked. So we get 4 hits. 5s to wound. No wounds. Oh, how disappointing. Right, that is the end of the Necrons shooting phase, so charges are just coming up now. Okay, so we're going to charge the Cryptek again into the speeder. He's got 1 wound left, but anyway, we'll see what happens. 10 auto hits. 6, 8, 10. Those are misses, misses, misses. Okay, well he saved them all at least, so that's good. 5, he's in. There we go. Okay, that is the charge phase complete. Fight phase is next, so we might as well start here. So the Cryptek gets 1 attack, which is unusual, with his Staff of Light. So this hits on a 3, which hits. And it's strength 4, so it's a 5 to wound. And it does wound. It's -2 AP. So it needs a 5-up save, which is not saved, and it does 1 damage. So that's the speeder down to 1 wound remaining. And then the speeder has 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. 1 hits. Strength is 4, so it's a 4 to wound, and it does not wound. Okay, let's go over to the other side and resolve the bikes versus warriors combat. Right, so Necron warriors first, and there are 6 of them. And they hit on a 3. Oh, excuse me, they hit on a 3. So that's 4 hits. And they wound on a 5. So there's 2 wounds. And the bikers get a 3-up save, which they do not save. So that basically means one of those bikes is gone. So we'll take that guy there, because the guy with the yellow stripe is the sergeant. And then the sergeant gets 2 attacks back, hitting on 3s, but he gets an extra hit or an extra attack with his chainsword. They all hit. 1 wounds, but it is not saved, so he does manage to take out an additional Necron warrior. Right, that is the end of the fight phase. So for morale, leadership 10, these guys can't, or they can fail actually, so let me just roll that. Look at that. So 5 plus 6 is 11, so one of those guys manages to do a runner, but we've still got reanimation protocols anyway, so nothing major to worry about there. That is it for morale. So at the end of that turn, the Necrons have scored just the 1 solitary point for that objective. So that puts them on 5. Okay, so movement phase for the Space Marines for turn number 3 is complete. The remaining Inceptor has just travelled backwards to try and get into a charge with this Annihilation barge, just to tie it up for a little while. These guys here have just moved across to get onto the objective. They are still +1 away from the Night Scythe. No movement here, however these guys advanced across from here. Now they rolled a 1 on their initial advance, but with a command point reroll they actually managed to roll a 6, so they've managed to get within reasonable charge distance of these Necron warriors. The Redemptor has just scooted forwards just to get some line of sight across to the Necrons as well. And the Warbike that was here has just scooted around the building to support this lonely Sergeant Biker. Now we went straight into the psychic phase. The librarian who'd moved out from behind this building after this squad and the chapter master had moved forwards cast a smite across onto the Necron warriors and managed to score 3 mortal wounds, but then tried to cast lightning call on the same unit and actually failed to get that power off. So that's it for movement and psychic, and the shooting phase is coming up next. So we're going to shoot the Intercessor's bolt rifles into the Night Scythe. Now they're within half range, so double the shots, but they are hitting on 4s. There's a reroll in there for the captain. Still misses. What was that? I'm not sure what that was. I'll take it out anyway. 5 to wound. That's 2 wounds. 1 goes through. So that's him down to 6 wounds, and then we've got the captain in there as well. 2 shots, 1 hit, 1 miss, but a reroll, so 2 hits, 1 wound, and again not saved. Down to 5. Okay, and we've then got the Inceptor who's going to shoot his weapon into the Annihilation barge, so hitting on a 4, wounding on a 5, no wins. Okay, bolt pistol, no hits, and then we've got the twin bolter, which can't, oh, he can't shoot anyway, can he, because they're in combat, so that's not gonna go anywhere. We've got half range, so we've got shots from these guys into the Necron warriors. hitting on 3s with a reroll on the 1s. Okay. 4s to wound, no wounds. We've got the Chapter Master in there with his combi bolter. That's 1 hit with a reroll. Wounds, and is not saved, so he manages to take out 1 more. Stormbolter on the Librarian, 2 shots. Reroll for the Captain, so 2 hits, 2 wounds, but they are saved. And the Hellblaster, who's going to shoot into the Night Scythe again, hitting on a 4. He hits and wounds, and it's -4 AP, so that drops him down to 4 wounds. And what else have we got? We have got the Predator, so the Heavy Bolters and the Storm Bolter are going to go into the Necron Warriors, and the Las Cannon is going to go into the Night Scythe. So Heavy Bolters first, hitting on 3s, hitting on 3s, not saved, so that's another one down. Stormbolter, 2 shots, both hits, no wounds, and then the Twin Las Cannon, both hits, both wound, and 6 up save, 1 saved and 1 not. And this does D6 damage for 6. Does it explode? No, it does not. So that is the Night Scythe off the table. And we've got 8 bolt pistol shots into the Necron Warriors. 5 hits, but no wins. That's disappointing. We'll do the Redemptor into the Necron Warriors as well. So 4, 8, 11, 12 for the Gatling Cannon. Okay, 3s to wound, -1 AP, that's 3 dead. And then there's a Stormbolter on there as well, no hits. And I think, I can't remember what he's got. Is it the Icarus rocket pod? I think it is. Let me just check. Yeah, it's the Icarus rocket pod, so it's heavy D3. So he gets 3, but these are hitting on a 4. So he gets 1 hit. Now this is strength 7, so it's a 3 to wound, which wounds. And it is -1 AP for do to 2 damage. But it's saved. So, what else have we got? Okay, so the only other thing we can do is shoot the weapons from the attack bike into these Necrons. So, we've got a Heavy Bolter, 2 hits, 1 wound, which is saved, and we have a Multi-Melter, which does not hit. Okay, that's the end of the shooting phase for the Space Marines. The fight phase is coming up next. The charge phase is coming up next. So we've got a charge coming in here. So we've got 14 rapid fire shots into the Assault Marines. So these are hitting on 4s. Except they're not, they're hitting on 6s because it is Overwatch. So we have 3 hits. 2 wounds, and 1 goes through. So one of those guys is deceased. Charging. Oh, here we go again. Command point. Okay, that's better. That was a 7. So those guys are well and truly in. Okay, we've then got this charge here, so we've got 3 shots, no hits, and then we've got 8 shots with 2 hits. One wound, and oh come on, that didn't even roll. Okay, saved. Charging 4, that puts him in, and then finally we've got the Warbiker just over here. Not quite finally, actually, I'll come on to that in a minute, but he's just going to charge into the Necrons, easily in, so we're going to put him there. No, we won't, we'll put him there. And then finally we're going to charge here into this Necron squad. So we've got, what have we got? We've got 6 shots with 1 hit. Does not wound. Charge. That's not enough. Can't command point it because I've already done one, so okay, that's a failed charge, not to worry. Okay, that's the end of the charge phase. Fight phase is coming up next. So we're just going to do some piling in just to get more of these Necrons into combat. There we go. So standard Marines first, 12 attacks. Hitting on 3s, winging on 4s. And 2 go through. So that's 2 more of these guys killed. And we've then got the Sergeant with his Thunderhammer. And he gets 2 attacks. Hitting on 3s, misses them both. Okay, Necrons fighting back, 5 attacks. They all hit. 2 wounds. Neither of them are saved, so that's another 2 of these guys killed. Okay, we've then got the Speeder. So he gets 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. They both hit. Strength is 4. Neither of them wound. The Cryptek, 1 attack. Oh, and he hits. Where's he gone? But he does not wound. Okay then, and then over the far side to the bikes. So the bike sergeant gets 3 attacks, and they all hit. 2 of them wound, and 1 goes through, so that's 1 more guy gone. And the attack bike gets 2 attacks, hitting on 3s, and they both miss. So the Necrons get to fight back. They're all going into the Sergeant, and they all miss as well. Right, and then finally, what have we got? We've got this combat here. So the Inceptor Sergeant gets 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, 2 hits. Strength is 4, so he needs a 5 to wound and gets no wounds. So the Annihilation Barge gets to attack back. He gets 3 attacks, hitting on 6s for 1. Strength is 5, so it's a 3 to wound. And it wounds. 3 up save, and he's saved. Right, so that is the end of combat. In terms of morale, we need to do a morale check here, and they are good. In terms of the Necrons, they've lost 2, so they can't fail. leadership of 10, and same there, they've lost 1, can't fail, leadership of 10. So that's the end of Space Marines turn number 3. In terms of points, we have got, what have we got? 1 point there, and 1 point there. The Librarian is just within 3 inches, so that's 2 points. And then for the battle round, the Necrons have 1, and the Space Marines have 2, so that's an extra point for the Space Marines, giving them 3 points. That puts them on a total of 10 against 5 for the Necrons. That's the end of battle round number 3. So before we move into turn number 4 for the Necrons, I just need to go back to the mission rules, because at the end of turn 2, I believe it's the end of turn 2. Let me just double check. At the start of turn 2, I should have removed objective marker 2. And then at the start of turn 3, I should have removed objective marker 3. So 2 was here, and 3 was here. Now, number 3, there were no victory points scored from that because this guy's a flyer. Number 2, these guys scored a point in the previous turn. So I've deducted that point from the Space Marines, which drops them back to 9. So it's now 9-5 to the Space Marines. And then at the start of turn 4, I need to remove objective number 4, which is this one. So that one's coming off. There we go. So basically that's shoved all of the objectives down to the far end of the table. So we've got number 5, which is there, number 1, which is there, and number 6, which is just there. Okay, so turn 4 for the Necrons is coming right up. So we've got reanimation protocols for this unit of Necrons, 5s plus, so they get 3. Let's leave those there for a minute. And then we've got this unit in the centre, which there are potentially 6 to come back again, 5s plus. So again, they get 3. And then finally, this unit, which is 7. And again, they get 3. So I'll get those back onto the board, and then we'll go into the movement phase. So end of movement for the Necrons for turn 4, and this unit plus the Warlord Imatech have just moved down to here, just to try and support this Necron unit with the 2 bikes, then with a view to potentially getting across onto this objective in the next turn. So it's now the Catan Powers phase, and we are going to use Transdimensional Thunderbolt, and we're going to cast this on to the... It's going to go onto this squad of intercessors. Need to try and whittle them down a little bit. So need to roll a d6. Okay, we get a 4. So on a 4 plus, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. So okay, so they get 1 mortal wound, and then roll a d6 for every other enemy unit that is within 3 inches of the chosen unit. So that really only includes the chapter master, but that does not go through. So 1 mortal wound off of those guys. And then we've got Seismic Assault, same squad, so 5d6, and then on a 6 it's a mortal wound. Okay, so that's 1 more mortal wound, so that takes out 1 of the intercessors. That's the end of the Catan Powers phase. Shooting is next. So first of all, Imatech Staff of Light into the intercessors, 3 shots hitting on 2s. Let's That's 2 hits. And strength 6, so 3's to wound, 1 wound, minus 3 AP, so 6 up save, which is not saved. That does 2 damage, so that takes out another one of those. And then the Necron Warriors, same target. This is rapid fire, hitting on 3s. Force to wound. And it's minus 1 AP. Okay, so another one goes through. Death marks next. There are 2 in range, 24 inches of this unit of intercessors. So 2 shots, hitting on 3s, 1 hit, 4 to wound. That's a wound, no AP, so 3 up. And that is saved. Everything else is in combat, so that's the end of the shooting phase. Charge phase is next. So we're going to charge the Necron Warriors into the biker. That's obviously in, and then Imatech in as well. Yeah, so those guys are in. We'll just put him around there. Charge is complete. Fight phase is next. So starting with the Necrons, the Necron unit that charged. So we've got 6 attacks, hitting on 3s. Okay, 4 go through. These are 5s to wound, no wounds. And then the biker sergeant, who gets 2 attacks with a chainsword, is 3. 1 wound. And sorry, that was 1 hit, but that is not a wound. Okay, Imatech next. So he gets 3 attacks hitting on 2s. They all hit. Strength is 5, so 4's to wound. Sorry, strength is 6 because it's +1, so 3's to wound. They all wound. And minus 3 AP. They all go through and they do 2 damage each. So yeah, that's a dead biker. So he is out of the picture. And then we've got these guys here. So again, 6 attacks hitting on 3s. 5 hits. Strength 4. 5s to wound. We've got 2 wounds. No AP, so 3 up. They're both saved. And then the attack bike has 2 attacks hitting on 3s. 2 hits. 4's to wound. 1 wound. And it's saved. Okay, so these guys are going to consolidate. So the Annihilation Barge has 3 attacks which hit on a 6. So he does get 1. Strength is 5, so 4's to wound. That wounds. There's no AP on that, so 3 to save, which is saved. Excellent. And then the Inceptor Sergeant gets 3 attacks hitting on 3s, 2 hits. And strength is 4, so it's a 5 to wound, but he does not wound. So the Cryptek has 1 attack, which hits on a 3. So that hits. Strength is 4, so it's a 5 to wound, which does not wound. And the Landspeeder has 2 attacks, hitting on 3s, 1 hits. Strength is 4, so it's a 4 to wound, but it does not wound. Okay, and then we're into this last combat with the assault squad. So Necron warriors first, 8 attacks, hitting on 3s, 6 hits, 4s to wound. Oh, 1 wound. Whoops, I didn't actually roll that, it just fell out of my hand. Okay, so that goes through, so that takes out another one of those guys. And then we've got the chainsword guys first, of which there are 3. So that's 6 attacks, hitting on 3s. Okay, so we've got 3 hits, 4s to wound, no wounds. And then the sergeant with the thunder hammer. So these hit on a 4, you get 1 hit, 2s to wound, so it wounds, and it's -3 AP, so that makes that a 7+ save, so can't actually save it, so that takes out one of those guys. So at the end of Necron's turn number 4, the Necrons are sitting on objective number 1 for 1 point. They do not hold more than the Space Marines though, so they don't get the extra point because the Librarian is sitting on objective number 5, which is just over the far side there. So 1 point to the Necrons puts them on 6. Space Marines turn 4 is next. So Space Marines movement phase is over. So Predator has moved up into the roadway. These remaining intercessors and the chapter master have just moved around the corner to get range or line of sight onto this Necron unit, expecting this bike to be destroyed in this turn, hopefully. The Librarian is still covering that objective, but is within 18 inches of the Catan, so potentially a power to go off there. The Hellblaster that was back here has moved forwards to get into range of the death marks over here. And then this Intercessor squad has just moved up standard move, again to get into range of the death marks. And then the Redemptor has moved forwards to here, and the Speeder has moved out of combat to get away from the Cryptek, which opens up this guy for shooting. Yeah, no, I don't think he can he? Because he can still see this unit. So, unfortunately not. That was a mistake. Okay, not to worry. So, Psychic phase is next, and we're going to cast a Smite onto the Catan, who is just down here, which we get on a 7. So, D3 mortal wounds for 2. Okay, and we're then going to cast Lightning Call on the same unit. So that goes off on a 7 again, which it does. So again, D3 mortal wounds for 1. So that drops him down to 5. And then roll a D6 again, and on a 4+, it's another mortal wound, which it is. Unit is not destroyed. Roll another D6 on a 5+. Okay, so he takes another mortal wound, dropping him down to 4. That's the end of Psychic. Shooting is next. So we've got 5 shots from the Intercessors into the death marks, hitting on 3s, re-rolling for the Captain. So that's 5 hits. And 2 wounds. Okay, so that's 2 of those guys killed for now. And then we've got the Captain, who gets a shot from his mastercrafted bolt gun, hitting on a 2, which hits, does not wound. And then we've got the Hellblaster, who gets 1 shot, hitting on a 4 because he moved. That hits. Strength is 8, so it's a 4 to wound. Sorry, a 2 to wound. That wounds, and it's -4 AP. So that takes out another death mark. And I think what we're going to do, because these guys are in line of sight, we're going to shoot the intercessors into the death marks as well. Just double check the range. So we've got 3 shots hitting on 3s, 2 hits, 2 wounds, but they are both saved. The chapter master can't see anything other than the Catan, who's just up here, so he's going to shoot his storm bolter, re-rolling, 2 hits, no wounds. Okay, we've got 4 bolt pistols into the Necron warriors. They all hit. 1 wound. Not saved. Okay, that's the end of shooting. Charges are coming up next. So the only charge I'm going to declare is the Cryptek, which is going to charge into, sorry, no, this is the Space Marines and I'm getting so confused. Okay, so we're not going to charge anything because we've got this guy out of combat so that he could shoot, which hopefully he'll be able to do in the Necron turn. Nothing else in range. He can't charge because this is a flyer. Nothing here that can charge already in combat. Going to keep these on the objective. These guys are too far away, so that's it. So fight phase. So we're going to start here with the Inceptor. He gets 3 attacks hitting on 3s, 2 hits, 5s to wound, 1 wound, whoops, 4 up save, not saved. Okay, so that does 1 wound. Now the Annihilation Barge is able to recover wounds from quantum shielding. So each time this model fails a saving throw, roll a d6. If the result is less than the damage inflicted by that attack. Okay, so it's only 1 damage, so he can't quantum shield that. So that puts him down to 7 wounds. He's now going to attack back. So 6s, 1 hit, 3 to wound, doesn't wound. Disappointing, but there you go. Okay, we'll go over to this combat next. So the bike gets 2 attacks hitting on 3s. They both hit. 4s to wound, 1 wound, but that is saved. And then we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 attacks back. In 3s. Wounding on 5s. With a 3 up save. Okay, so he takes 1 wound. And then we've got the Warlord Imatech, who has 3 attacks hitting on 2s. This is with the Staff of the Destroyer. 2 hits. Strength is 5, so 4s to wound. We get 2 wounds. And these are minus 3 AP, so 6s. Okay, 1 goes through, which does 2 damage. So that drops the biker down to 1. Now I did say I think that I was going to charge the Cryptek into this combat. That's about as worse a charge as you could get, but he's still in. Okay, so charging units fight first. So Cryptek, 1 attack hitting on a 3. That hits. Strength is 4, so he's a 4 to wound. He does not wound. Okay then, that's not great. And then we've got the assault squad, so we've got 6 attacks from the chain swords, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s, with a... okay, so 1 is dead. And then we've got the Thunder Hammer. 1 hits. Does not wound. 5 attacks back from the Necron Warriors. 2 wounds. Both saved. Right. That's the end of the fight phase. Morale wise, there isn't any. No morale this turn. These guys lost 3, so I think with a leadership of 10 they'll only get to 9 with a d6 roll anyway, so that's it. That's the end of the Space Marines turn. So 1 point for that objective. Still don't have more than the Necrons, and Necrons hold this one. So 1 point. That makes it 10 points to 6 for the Space Marines. That's the end of battle round number 4. So this is the start of Necrons turn number 5. So we're taking away objective number 5. So that literally leaves number 1 and 6. 6 is here, 1 is there. Can do some reanimation protocols now as well. So for this unit we've got 5, and we get 4 back. And this unit we've got 4. And we don't get any. And then 4 for the unit underneath the Warbiker. Oh, we get all 4 back. Wow. Okay, let's get those back on the board and then we'll look at movement. Right, so at the end of the Necrons movement phase, basically nothing has moved. Nothing has moved. We're staying in combat here. These guys haven't moved, they're staying on the objective. Obviously the reinforcements are in over here, and we've got this combat going on up here with the reanimated Necron Warriors. So that's basically it. The Catan is the only other one that I possibly could move, and I'm going to have a look at that now, and then we'll see where we are. So I've actually decided to move him to there. He's got an 8-inch move, so that puts him more than an inch away from the Chapter Master, and that gives him a easy, non-failable charge when we get to the charge phase. So might be able to slay the Warlord out of that, which will give us an extra point. Still means we're going to be 2 points behind at the end of this turn. So let's see what we can do. So first of all, powers of the Catan. We are going to roll for Trans-Dimensional Thunderbolt, which is going to go on to the Warlord, the Chapter Master. So we roll a d6 and we get a 1. So I'm going to command point reroll that because we need this power to work. And we get it on a 6. Okay then, so that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds for 2. And then roll a d6 for every other enemy unit that is within 3 inches of the chosen enemy. And on a 4+, that unit suffers a d3 mortal wounds as well. So we'll do the intercessors, and then the Predator. Okay, so the Predator takes d3 mortal wounds as well. So let's do the Warlord first. So he takes 1, and then the Predator takes 3. So the second Catan power is Seismic Assault. So visible enemy unit within 24 inches, and roll a d6 for each model in that unit. Add 1 to the roll if the Satan is a Tesseract Vault, which it is not. For each 6, that unit suffers a mortal wound. So we're going to go for the intercessors, and we get absolutely nothing. Never mind. Okay, so we're now moving into shooting. So we'll stay with the Catan. No, we won't, because he hasn't got any shooting weapons. So we're going to go to the death marks over here, and they're going to shoot at the intercessors over here. So at 24 inches, they're on the very outside of range, so they can only target this guy. So 2 shots, hitting on 3s. That's 1 hit, wounding on a 4. Does not wound. Right, that's it for shooting. Charge phase is next. So declaring a charge from the Catan into the Chapter Master. Chapter Master has rapid fire 2, so 4 shots, and on that he gets 2 hits. Strength is 4, 5 to wound. No wounds. Charge. Okay, so the Catan is easily into combat. Let's turn old Chapter Master around. There we go. Okay, charge phase is over. Fight phase is next. So the Catan gets 4 attacks with his crackling tendrils. These hit on a 2. 3 hits. And these are strength 7, toughness is 4, so 3s to wound. Okay, and there's 2 wounds. These are -4 AP, so the Chapter Master has a 3+ invuln save, so he saves both of those. Now he's going to attack back, so he gets 4 attacks, hitting on 2s. Using his Chain Fist. Yeah, that's correct. Subtract 1 from the hit roll. Strength is 8, so 3s to wound. 1 wound. -4 AP. So this is a 4+ invuln, which is saved. Okay, so 6 chainsword attacks into the Necron warriors. Hitting on 3s. Winning on 4s. And that's saved. And then the Thunderhammer. 2 hits. Winning on 2s, 2 wounds, -3 AP, so that's another 2 dead. Keep knocking them down and they keep getting back up. And then the Cryptek, who is over the back there, he gets 1 attack, hitting on a 3, which is a miss. So I should have actually done the Necron Warriors first, so we'll imagine that that 8th one is still there. So 8 attacks, hitting on 3s, and that's 4 hits, 4s to wound, no wounds. So 3 attacks, hitting on 6s, no hits. And then the Inceptor, 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, 5 to wound, and that does not wound. Okay, and then we're over the back here. So we have got 20 Necron warriors in there, all attacking at once. So we'll do this side first. Now, because they're in movement trays, obviously they're not within an inch of a unit or model that's within an inch. However, obviously with piling, etc., they would be. So we're going to do 10 and then 10. So 10 first, hitting on 3s and wounding on 5s with a 3 up, both saved, and then wounding hitting on 3s, wounding on 5s with a 3 up. They are all saved. And then we've got Imatech, 3 attacks, hitting on 2s, so he gets 2 hits. And then strength is 6, so 3s to wound, 2 wounds. The staff of the destroyer is -3 AP, so it's a 6 up save. Oh, so 1 goes through at 2 damage. That is enough to take out that attack bike. There we go. That is the end of Necron's turn number 5, which means they get 1 point, which puts them on 7. So it's 7 to the Necrons and 10 to the Space Marines. Space Marines turn 5 coming up. So Space Marines movement phase is complete, and we have shunted the Redemptor forwards. Going to look at charging into the Necron warriors over here. The speeder has scooted forwards to the centre here, and this squad plus the captain have just moved around into this gap in the buildings. The librarian has moved forwards to get into charge range of the Catan, as have these guys. They've just shunted backwards a little bit just to make their charge a little bit easier, and the Predator has just shunted forwards just to get into rapid fire range with the Storm Bolter and the Heavy Bolters. So that's it for movement. Psychic is next. First things first, we're going to do a smite onto the Catan, which goes off for D3 mortal wounds for 1, and that drops him down to 3, and we're going to do Might of Heroes on the captain, which goes off on a 6. Okay, we're going to command point that. Okay, so we get Might of Heroes on the captain. That's the end of the psychic phase. Shooting phase is next. So we'll come over here and do 4 bolt pistols into the Necron warriors. They all hit. Only 1 wounds. And it is not saved. Just 1 more of those guys down. And then we'll come over to these guys and we'll do 5 bolt rifle shots into the death marks, hitting on 3s. They all hit. 4 of them wound. Oh, that might be enough to take those guys out. Let me just check. Yeah, so those are a 3 up save, so that is enough to finish off the death marks, although I didn't do reanimation protocols for them, so I really should do that. So okay, so they don't get any back anyway, so that's the death marks wiped. And then we'll do the captain shooting into the Necron warriors, hitting on a 2. That hits, wounds, and is not saved, so that takes out 1 of those. Okay, we'll do 3 bolt rifle shots into the Necron warriors over to the right, just up there. Re-rolling. That's 3 hits. Only 1 wound, and it is saved. Okay, and then we've got the Storm Bolter into the Necrons. 3 hits. 3 wounds. That's 1 dead. And then we've got 2 heavy bolters, but because it's within half range, so that's double the shots. So 12 shots hitting on 3s, make it 4 because it moved. Reroll that one because he's, oh no, because he's a vehicle. Okay, strength is 5, so 3s to wound. 4 wounds, minus 1 AP. Okay, so that's another 2 dead. And then finally we've got the twin las cannon. That wounds, minus 4 AP, so that will take out another one. Got that guy up there, so he's going to shoot at the Necron warriors as well. Hits on a 3, wounds on a 2, and minus 4 AP, so that will take out another one. So what we're looking at is a charge from the Librarian and a charge from these 3 into the Catan. So Librarian first, no problem for him. And then the Intercessors, no problem for them either. And then finally, I need to get a Redemptor in to the side of this Necron Warriors unit. And again, easily enough for him to just get him round the side there. Okie dokie, fight phase is coming up. So we're going to start in the middle, Librarian charged, so 3 attacks, hitting on a 3, so 2 hits. Strength is 6, so it's a 5 to wound, and he gets no wounds. And then the Intercessors with 7 attacks, hitting on 3s, re-rolling. 5s to wound, and the Catan has a 4 up, which it does not save, so he does take another wound. And then the Captain, the Chapter Master, who has 4 attacks, hitting on 2s. To re-roll for himself, 4 hits, 3s to wound, and then a 4 up invuln. Right, so that is the Catan destroyed. Now he gets to explode on a 6. On a 4, sorry, explodes on a 4. So he does explode. Does D3 damage to everything around him. So D3 mortal wounds on the Intercessors for 3, 2, 3. D3 mortal wounds on the Chapter Master for 2. Leaves him with 3 left. And then D3 on the Librarian for 3. So the Librarian has 5 wounds, that leaves him with 2. Right, now that is Slay the Warlord for the Space Marines, which puts them on 11 points. I can't see the Necrons coming back from this. What I'm going to do is finish this turn and then see where we are. So we're going to move on to the last combat. Well, not the last combat. We'll do this one first, and then we'll do the big blob at the far end of the table. So we've got 3 attacks from the Sergeant, hitting on 3s. Ooh, that was 2 hits. 5s to wound. Strength is 4. Yep, 5s to wound. 1 wound, and the barge has a 4 up, which it saves. The barge then gets 3 attacks hitting on a 6 and gets no hits. Okay, down to the other end. So we'll do the Redemptor first. He gets 4 attacks hitting on a 3. He gets 3 hits. These are strengths. Strength 14, so 2s. They all wound, and they are -3 AP, so 6s. Okay, so that is 2 more dead. And then we've got 6 chainswords, 3s, 4s to wound, 3 ups, another 2 gone. And then we've got the Thunderhammer, 2 hits, 1 wound, but it is saved. Okay, now the crit deck hits and wounds. It's -2 AP, so it's not saved. That takes out 1 more of the chainswords. So at the end of that turn, the Necrons have 1 additional point for the objective. However, the Space Marines get 1 point for Slay the Warlord. So although that puts the Necrons on 8, it puts the Space Marines on 11. Bearing in mind what the Necrons have still got on the table, these 2 maybe reanimation protocols might bring them back, but I think the Redemptor will probably clear them pretty quickly. Still got 7 wounds left on this. There's a bit of a stalemate going on here at the moment, but obviously the Flyer can't hold objectives. We've still got the Overlord. We've still got these Necrons and Imatech. He wasn't the Warlord. Imatech is the Warlord, so actually they don't get that point. So it puts the... and they don't score that point this turn, so that means they stay on 7. The Space Marines stay on 10, so there is actually only 3 points in it. Let's see if we go to the next turn and see what happens. Right, so we do go into turn 6, so let's play turn 6 for the Necrons and see where we end up. So at the end of turn 6 movement for Necrons, we've managed to get 1 back for reanimation protocols. Sorry, 2 back for protocols here. And I think we had 1 come back over here on this unit. The unit of 10 has moved across onto the objective. Number 6, which was there, has been removed. The Overlord has just moved here to get into 12-inch range of this squad. The remainder of this unit and Imatech have just moved up to block the Predator from getting through to this objective, and that is it for movement. We've got no Catan left anymore, so no powers from him, so we're going to go straight into shooting, and we will start here. So we've got 5 warriors left in that unit, and they're rapid firing into the Predator. So that's 10 shots hitting on 3s, wounding on 5s, with a 3-up save. They're all saved. And then Imatech with his Staff of the Destroyer, so hitting on a 2. That hits. Strength is 6, so it's a 5 to wound. That does wound. It's -3 AP, so it's a 6-up save, which is not saved, and it does 2 damage. So that knocks the Predator down to 6 wounds remaining. Okay, so the Overlord is going to shoot his Staff of Light into the Intercessor squad. So this is 3 shots hitting on a 2. They all hit. Strength is 5, so 3s to wound. Only get 1 wound, but it's -2 AP, so a 5 up to save, and they save it. Okay, and then we've got 10 shots from these warriors into this unit, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s, with a 3 up save. Okay, so 1 goes through, so you do manage to take out one of those guys. Okay then. That is the end of the shooting phase. The charge phase is next, and we're going to start right here. So the Necron warriors are going to charge into the Predator. So the Predator will get 8 shots from the heavy bolters for 1. 3 to wound. Does not wound. Okay, and then we've got the Storm Bolter. No hits, and then the twin las cannon, no hits. Charge is successful. We'll charge the Warlord in as well while we're there, so he's in 2. So they are all into combat. That's the end of charges. Fight phase is next. So starting with this combat, so 5 Necron warriors hitting on 3s. That's pretty poor. Wounding on a 5. No wounds. And then we've got Imatech. So Imatech gets 3 attacks hitting on a 2. They all hit. Strength is 6, so 5 to wound. No wounds. Predator fighting back. No hits. Okay, and we'll just come down to these guys here. So we've got the Annihilation Barge first. No hits. And then the Sergeant hitting back. He hits once, but does not wound. So 4 Necron warriors into the chainsword wielding attack squad. 3 hits. 2 wounds, and 1 goes through, so they managed to take out 1 more. So chainsword hitting back, 2 hits, 1 wound, which is saved, and then Thunderhammer, 2 hits, 2 wounds, and don't think the 5 saves. Let me just check. Yeah, so it's -3 AP, so that does take out 2 more. Okay, and then we've got the Cryptek. 1 hit, sorry, 1 attack, I should say, that hits. And it wounds, and a 5 up save, which is saved. And then finally the Redemptor, 3 hits, 3 wounds, none of them are saved. That is that unit. So that's destroyed. The end of Necron's turn number 6, and they score 1 point for that objective, which puts them on 8. That means it's 8 to the Necrons and 10 to the Space Marines. The Space Marines are still in a pretty good position. Got the Redemptor and these 2 attack Marines facing off against this guy. Still got the Speeder on 1 wound. Still got a full squad pretty much here. Still got the Predator on 6 wounds, and then the Command Squad and 1 Hellblaster left. And this combat here, which seems to be stalemate at the moment. So I think it's likely that the Necrons won't pull back those 2 points in the next turn, or even the next 2 turns, because to do that they'd have to score that one for both turns if we go to turn 7, and they'd have to take out the Warlord and then magic up another point from somewhere, which I don't think they can do. So at the very best it will finish on 10-9 to the Space Marines. So I'm going to call it there. That's the end of the game. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all very soon.